So when we look at the term Canaan, the land of Canaan, and the significance of the promised land, and Amuru and the serpents and the original inhabitants of Cain, we're talking about Cain's sons and the brazen copper, the copper mines from Lake Superior. These ancient copper mines and the turquoise, when we understand the turquoise, and Amma and the mother, the emerald, and the emerald tablets, and the significance of the connection with the sword and the serpent and the tribe of Dan, the seafaring people. When you look at Ezekiel, the 26th chapter, and it refers to these seafaring people as Yam. We understand the Yami, when you look at the Starbucks cup, and you understand the mermaids, primordial beginnings, the Nakal, right? The mythical serpent, or Kumaras. Now, we understand the dragon and the Naga and the connection with the Naga and the Christ and the Christian and the Son and the ancient travelers. You have to understand in the beginnings the cherubim and the seraphims that separated Adam from the tree of life, and the connection when you look at the different caduceus in the tree of life. Now it says in Ezekiel, the 26th chapter, now there's the isles shall tremble in that day. You understand even the isles, the Caribbean, and the connection with the snake and the Caribbean, and Genesis when you look at the tree of life and the beginnings, and how sin, or the mind, the ability, the thought to be as a God, as an Elohim. When we look at seraphim burning, poisonous serpent, and you understand the Sierra, all the way from, we understand the Golden West, and these lands all the way from Colorado, from everything west of basically the Mississippi, or the Mississippi River. And you look at the Colorado River and the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, Cali, California, and then the Heshutin, right? You understand the Moses, the sea serpents, the seafarers, the tribe of Dan, and these coastlines, the reed boats, and the Caribbeans, and the sea lords, ancient sea lords. When we look at Nimrod and how this spread, you know what I'm saying? We look at Christianity and what is Christianity. When we look at Ethiopian, the Negus being the first Christian, you understand Negus, and in the connection with the Negus, God, the nigger, and the serpent, the land of Canaan, and the connection with Joshua and the conquering and coming back into the land of Canaan. We understand Genesis when we look at brass, brazen, copper, color, people, and these terms, and Nagev, and Kohen, the ancient priesthood, and the serpent, the priesthood. Even the word, like I was saying, Caribbean and the Samaria connects with the serpent. We have to understand why Cain is in reference to, when we look at Cain, the staff, the scepter, and the beginnings when the Most High had to use the cherubim to separate man from the tree of life. So when you look at whether it's the Uraeus and the kingly serpentine emblem of royalty, right, or the Kohen, when you look at the word Kohen, right, Kohen, or the priest, right, the priest before Levi. When we see Amuru and Amuraka, America, the land of the wise serpents. When we look at the ending, that is the ending portion of America, and look at Amuraka and the name, and the connection with the land of the immortals, the land of the wise serpents, is the title for America, which is derived from a Kisha Lemurian word meaning snake or serpent. So when we look at copper, or the serpent, the Nakash, the land of Canaan, the Kohen, the Caribbean. When we look at the plum serpent and Queen Califia, and the significance with the plum serpent, and Ma'at, Amat, the devourer, the female devourer of the mother. When you look at the Virgin Mother and the Queen Mother of the heavens, and what takes place in the time of the Virgo, the Virgin, and Amat, the Libra, and the scales of justice. When we look at Amat and what takes place during the time of August, in these times of the annual the annual flooding and the festival, Easter, Passover, And the passing over from the Americas into Asha Asia, when we look at fire and Naga and the significance of crossing the rim of fire during the winter to then come over the sea, the Atlantic, during the summer and back into the lands of the Americas annually. This procession was so essential to the ancient priests. Is how they calculated their reigns for such a period of time. This is how scholars and other historians and theologians have been able to document biblical history of King Solomon and David with artifacts around the world along these temple star systems, which are connected. So when we look at the seraphim and the star systems, the Milky Way and Meshi and the Z people and the ancient cultures, the mound building cultures here, and we look at the mining that is done in the Michigan area, Lake Superior area, ancient copper mines. When we look at, I went to Etowah Mounds, and when you see the copper mines there, the copper material there, and the turquoise and the copper, when you look at the Egyptian blue and King Tut and a lot of the jewelry around the time of King Tut, what you'll see is that you'll see a lot of emerald, turquoise, and copper blended in together with the art. So these things historically are how connections are made. When we look at the Hyksos and the Sea Kings, the Serpent Kings, and the traveling around the earth in the different periods of time, in the different wind patterns. Now we understand what's significant about that. We understand the worship of the heavens and the earth. If you're traveling across the waters in different wind patterns by the Spirit to go into different lands to operate during the time seasons. So this is where seasons and seasons, right? Zens in the 10, and why some calculate 10 hours instead of 12 is because the different measures of the twilight and the horizon where Ghana, or the Congo, when you understand the Congo and the Cancer, the Tropic of Cancer, all of these things are connected within the language. We understand the great horizon line that exists there between the winter solstice and the summer solstice of this horizon, which somehow is used to calculate universal time. Now, this prime meridian, some say, is not existing, but this is what is used to calculate time today. And this is why banking here in the Pacific time zone is important for money. Banking in the Pacific time zones, these time zones and banking today, when you look at Tokyo and how Tokyo and San Francisco, we understand tomorrow and yesterday, and banking and doing the exchange of currency, current being current during the exchange of currency, marketing, right? You understand Amuraka and the market, the money making exchange from the heavens, right? To understand all things here, this land was essential. These people were essential. They inhaled the very perfection of the earth within their characteristics and mannerisms, likeness. Understand? Gods, like they say, amongst men, giants, tyrants. Sometimes the inhabitants of this land were known as the famous, right? What you known for is, you know what I'm saying, big time, big timers, you feel me? Gigantic, you know what I'm saying, extremendous, nigga, you know what I'm saying, extremendo, supreme, you know what I'm saying, extra large out here, you know what I'm saying, grande, nigga, everything out here, like they say in Texas, is big, you understand? So when we look at these lands and the connection with the heavens, the star systems, the Dracos, and the travelers and the observers of time, Since things have been digitalized now in the modern era, time is no longer what it is. It's no longer observed, it's told, tell.